about to witness three total strangers,
A musician, an artist, and a business professional.
we brought them together to talk about a really hard subject that they had no clue what it was before they got here.
All in the hopes that we can teach you, America, that we can discuss the most controversial topics.
Without being jerks to each other. Imagine that. So stick around, watch the fireworks, because we're about to go live. Welcome to the Art of Dispute, the only show where you can be friended and offended all in the same hour. You're tuning in, you're watching the show, you're channel surfing, you're like, hey, this looks pretty interesting. There's some neat looking people on this. What are they talking about? I hate everything they said. Bunch of idiots.
You talking about me?
I think I'll keep watching. Yes, America, we have a problem. You know what I'm talking about. You've all experienced it. You on social media. It even happens in person, but especially on social media. You post something, you make a comment, and it blows up. Flame wars. The trolls come out in force. Mass swarms of them. People unfriending, blocking. We lovingly.
The Third Reich.
The Third Reich. The Third Reich of trolls. We lovingly refer to this as the zero to Nazi effect. That is the length of time it takes to go from zero to you're having a good productive conversation to you're a Nazi. I hate everything about you. I will go outside. I will slit your tires. Set your rose bushes on fire. Slap your dog around a little bit. Poor dog. The dog has been getting the bad end of the stick here last few weeks. I might have to jump over to the cat. Yeah. I'm gonna wash your cat. Just douse the cat with a big 5-gallon bucket of water.
It happens to us.
We get flack.
We get flack. We
On
get
the
flack
show.
about our panel not being diverse enough for the topic. May not be diverse in demographically, but the opinions are there. If they're not there on the show, then leave them in the comment section. If they're not in the comment section, go over to our group page and leave it there because we want to know it.
That's right. And it's worth mentioning now, you can hop over to artofdispute.com
Oh yeah.
and click on the buttons at the top, and you'll see our social media, pages. Just go there, and we got buttons that take you to all of our social media platforms. Really good stuff. Hop in the
I'll
group.
do it for you on that one.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. On the screen. But before we dive into today's topic, because we've got a fun topic today, we're talking about on the show today, are gender roles important for children to see? Good stuff. We're going to dive into that. But before we do, I got to introduce our awesome guest on the show today. Up first, Miss Sabrina Starks.
Hey.
How you doing?
Also known as Sabrina the Model. How are
Sabrina
you?
the Model.
Yes. How are
Yes,
you?
there we go. That is your artist name.
Yes.
Sabrina the Model. You guys can find her at Instagram.com/Sabrina the Model. Facebook, Sabrina the Model 1. And she's on Snapchat at Sabrina the Model. We'll have the Instagram link for you guys on the bottom of the page, so definitely check that out. And one funny thing about Sabrina that most people don't know, I bet your family knows.
Everybody. Well, everybody.
Your
knows.
immediate family, right?
Yeah.
Your immediate folks around you. She says she's a piggy eater. You and my kids. My son's gonna turn into a chicken tender. I'm
Oh,
just
that's
saying.
me right there.
Really?
That's the universal
That's
picky
me
eater.
right there.
I'm like, yeah,
Grilled cheese.
we
Yes.
know they're gonna eat chicken tenders. It's just what restaurant are we eating chicken tenders
That's me
from
right
today?
there. I'm like, do they have chicken tenders? Okay, we're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Man. Up next, Aaron Kirkpatrick,
How you doing?
also
What up,
known as
Aaron?
Pyroscribe.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yep, wood burning.
Wood burning. Yeah. I've seen some of your work, man. It's pretty cool stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we'll have your Instagram link on the page. Instagram.com/Pyroscribe. You guys can see some of his work over there. I was checking it out. Very cool stuff. Good stuff. One funny thing about Aaron here that most people don't know, This is pretty interesting. I have to ask what brought this about. I plan to collect a pair of drumsticks from every Hard Rock cafe in the world before I die.
That is a
Hashtag
dang good
goals.
goal.
Right?
So,
that bucket list.
back in middle school and high school, I was a band nerd, and I was in percussion. And when
Me too, man.
Yeah. And when my mom moved my family to Texas, before we all moved, she came to visit to look at houses and brought me back a pair of Hard Rock drumsticks from Houston. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. So when I came to Houston, my first trip was to San Antonio.
Ah.
There's a Hard Rock there, so I got my own pair from Hard Rock in San Antonio.
To Houston.
And then my sister moved to Dallas. I went to visit her. I got a pair from the Hard Rock in Dallas.
It
And
started becoming a thing.
now I'm just like,
That's
I'm
your
going to
jam.
collect one from every single Hard Rock. And so far I have about 30 pair.
Whoa.
And about 7 of those from out of the United States.
Two. Nice.
Very cool.
That's nice.
Very cool.
What's your favorite one?
Actually, New Orleans. It's a really,
Nice. I've been there.
it's
That's
like black with sparkly purple like trim and details.
That sounds like
it's really
New
cool.
That sounds like one. Yeah. That's cool.
Awesome. Thanks for coming out, bud.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Last but not least, Amanda Schwem.
Welcome. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm old, and I'll tell you, like, the first thing I had in my head was swing,
Yes.
swing, swing.
Yes. Love Wayne's World.
Yes, that's a great show.
Totally
Classic right there, you know, Americana. So, business name, ABIS Inc. And your website, abiscorp.com. What is abis.com?
ABIS, I believe it stands for Advanced Business Integration Solutions.
Wow.
I'm a programmer, so I've been working on a program called ABIS 2020 for the last 5 years. ERP, CRM, business integration, document imaging, all the good stuff.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Right on. All right. There we go. Cool
Welcome.
stuff.
Welcome.
One funny thing about you, this is like, if people leave it blank, I make things up.
Did she leave a blank?
Right? No.
Ah, I was like, I got one.
Yeah, right? I'm saying, but this would be one that I would make up.
Oh, okay. Okay. Good.
I love these. Right? Every now and then you get one, kind of an obscure one, you're like, oh, that sounds made up. But it's perfect. She said, when I get a new video game, I have to smell the inside of the case.
This is common
case.
around gamers, but people that aren't gamers, they don't get it. You have to open up the case and
Like a
get like
book.
Yeah.
the new plastic. You
Yeah.
got to check out the insert if there is one.
Yeah, yeah.
When I load it up, I have to go through all the menus before I start the game.
Absolutely. Don't want to miss anything there.
There we
It
go.
might change the whole gaming
Yeah.
experience.
Otherwise, your whole ritual's messed up. And is it really a new game?
It's like a more budget-oriented new car smell thing.
I know.
I mean, I enjoy it.
You can get
more.
the experience for way less than buying a new car, so it's
Sure.
it's cool.
Yeah, $60.
And she
Yeah.
brought the music out today, so that's cool. She brought the music with her.
Yeah. She. Some people lug instruments. She lugged a band.
Yeah. They load themselves in.
Yes. We have the returning Cooley Booley and Daryl.
Yeah.
And the brand new Typecast, the
Typecast.
group that's been formed, new material just busted out on Apple. Mad awesome stuff. We already got to check out some of the performance at the beginning of the show, so super looking forward
We
to
have the
hearing
links
these
to
guys
show.
at the end of the show. They're definitely going to want to stick around and check their stuff out. So let's dive in. Show topic. Gender roles. Are they important for kids to see growing up? Good idea, bad idea, yes, no. What's your take on it? Just kind of give me your 1 minute bullet point and then we'll dive into the topic. Let's start with you.
I would say yes. As a woman, you want to teach I have kids. I want to teach my daughter how to be a strong woman, how to be very independent. At the same time, I want to teach my sons the same thing, how to be a strong man and be independent, be respectful to women. So I would say yes.
Okay.
I would also say yes because, I mean, I grew up without a father, so I didn't really have that. So I really had to look elsewhere. And I grew up learning a lot of stuff that took me a few years because I didn't have a father.
I say no. I mean, as a programmer and a female, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, it's kind of a breakthrough.
You're basically a man.
Yeah. I mean,
Roller
I could
derby
be.
and all.
Yeah. Roller derby.
Roller derby too.
I have a 1978 El Camino that I can fix the engine on.
Wow.
She's more manly than me.
Right? Wow. All right. So yeah, so not important for you.
Not at all.
Okay. Well, let's dive into this. For you guys, and we're really the whole panel. What does it mean to you to have a gender role, right? What does it mean to be the man? What does it mean to be the woman? What is unique about those roles to you that it makes a difference, that it matters? And for you, just the opposite. You know, what's the ubiquitousness, the ununiqueness of it, that it doesn't matter for you. Just kind of dive in with that. Ooh, that was a good question.
I wonder what they're gonna say.
Let's stick around and find out. We'll be right back. What does it mean to be the man? What does it mean to be the woman? What is unique about those roles to you that it makes a difference, that it matters? And for you, just the opposite. You know, what's the ubiquitousness, the ununiqueness of it, that it doesn't matter for you? Just kind of dive in with that.
I'm very dominant. I'm a dominant woman. I'm very strong. I've been on my own since I was 17. So I want my kids to have.
Yeah.
You
Call it,
wrestle?
go, ready?
All right, I'll pick that up.
I want my kids to be strong as they get older. I don't really think that, you know, it's really roles in the house, as long as they know that when you're in a household with somebody else, it's 50-50. I feel like the woman should put in as much work as the man, you know, whether it be cleaning, cooking, handling the kids, but I do want to teach them that responsibility. So it's not really a kind of a role thing.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, are there any positions or things that, you know, the traditional,
I mean,
the
the
man mows the yard, the woman cooks, you know, whatever, that kind of stuff.
I feel like the
there
man
anything
is like the
that for you?
protector of the house. He makes sure that the household is running smoothly. At the same time, the woman kind of does that as well. So really, it can go both ways with me.
Okay. You said a word that I would say expresses a typical male gender role, a protector, right? The counter to that, typical female role, caregiver, right? You're a mom,
Yes.
right? So you have kids. Do you think there's
Joke
an
that
importance? Yeah, right. Well, to be specific, some people say they're a mom when they have a dog.
Oh, so.
Or a cat.
Or a cat, yeah.
I have 4
Count.
kids.
You have 4 kids,
Yes.
right? And
They
2
don't
of them
count
are
as
cats and
people.
dogs.
I do have a dog.
All right, so you have 5 kids
Yeah.
in today's society, to be clear. Is it important, do you think, for the kids to see dad as a protector role, mom as a caregiver role? Do you think that's important?
They do look at that. They look at everything to me. they see mom as being strong and, you know, cleaning the house and maybe cooking. They do show that they feel that, you know, dad is supposed to take care of the house, make sure we're good, and, you know, that we're protected.
Okay. Eric?
With me, I believe
Same questions.
Same question. I believe that the father or the male should be the protector of the household. Like, growing up, I had to grow up into that position because, I mean, my mother cowered at the sight of a cockroach or a spider or lizard, whatever came into the house that wasn't supposed to be in the house. And so from growing up to catching spiders and killing ants and all that to making sure that the doors were locked and if there was a hole in a window, I could fix it. If I was out, that I had someone to watch the house and check on them and everything like that, just to continue keeping an eye on them. I do feel that. I don't necessarily feel that the wife or the female should just stay at home and cook and clean and take care. Like, she can do her life. She can do whatever she wants. But she does have to put into the 50-50.
Okay.
So I think that it's important as a woman to be able to protect yourself. Like, if my man is out on a business trip, I grew up 10 years of American karate. Xena the Warrior Princess was my go-to as a kid. I can shoot guns. I can protect the house myself. It's nice to have these things. Also, learning how to work on engines, I can't tell you how many of my guy friends I've helped them change a tire because they couldn't figure out how to do it themselves. Just a tire, not even gaskets or anything. I mean, even if you're walking down the street coming from a concert or something and you're a woman in Houston, it's nice to be able, without cooking, cleaning, any of the other roles, protection, because you're talking about being a protector alone, just makes me feel more at peace.
So let me ask you this. And I know Chris has some questions too.
Oh yeah, no, sure.
I'm exploring this first round of thoughts here, so to speak.
I got one.
Okay,
I'd be happy.
let me. I want to hit her with this, kind of the same way I went with these two guys, on the protector thing. Right, I love it. Whole family has done martial arts. My wife, our set director is a female black belt, and her and my wife are really close friends. My wife is preparing to test for her black belt.
Congrats, Cam. Cool.
Yeah. And I've had like bar situations where like guys have expressed like, you know, that didn't bother you that, like, you know, some guys like giving her a hard time, and I'm like, are you kidding? I'm like,
they don't know what they're
I'm just sitting back. Yeah, I'm just sitting back like waiting. Like, let's try something. You know?
I got eyes for that dude.
Yeah. So I'm a 1,000,000% down with the protect yourself, be strong, be capable, etc. Yet I'll tell you, instinctively, I feel like it's hardwired in me. If somebody's busting in the house, and my wife and I literally went through the same training under the same teacher, that type of thing. Now, you know, I'm on the gun range, she's not, but if, let's say she was, right? And let's say we're both as proficient. I still feel hardwired in me, I'm jumping in front of her. Is that a bad thing to you? Do you think that's...
Not at all. I think that that helps.
So I'm talking specifically to the protector role, right?
That helps her feel more protected in the relationship as well. But if she's by herself, she can protect herself. I think a lot of the...
Is it important for the kids to see it, though? That's kind of where I'm going with that. That dad has this, you know, instinctive wiring, whatever you want to call it.
Me before them type thing.
Right, right. To see dad in that role of, I want to jump out front and be in front because I am the dad and because I am the man. I feel that desire to protect. Is that good for them to see? Not good for them to see?
I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's important to see one gender versus the other. As long as one of the parents is a protector, they can learn from that. If a little boy wants to wear a princess dress and learn art, and the little girl wants to go, I don't know, shoot skeet I mean, how little is she, right? She has to be after a
ski.
certain age.
Hey,
Guns,
let's go hang out and
hard,
shoot the ski.
tough things, throw axes, whatever. I don't think it matters which gender it comes from. I think as children, they're very curious and imaginative, and if they want to learn anything, then they should learn it. It shouldn't have to matter if it's proper for your gender or not.
I agree
Okay.
with that.
Yeah.
Chris, I know you had a question.
So, I mean, in society, we're going to a more of a non-gender, I would assume, non-gender role. Do you think that is against or for our evolution? I mean, when you think about, Darwin theory and all, but as our evolution goes on, caveman was the protector, right? And if we kept on with that, we were just becoming the better protector.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we're going away from that norm, is it good or bad? Saying that, are we furthering our process?
Advancement of humanity.
Yes, our process of advancement, or are we kind of butting heads with it a little bit?
And we'll answer that when we come back from the break.
We'll get that one.
Yes. So you guys get to think about that for a minute and dwell on it, and we'll be right back after we hear some messages from our sponsors, and we'll dive in. See you then.
Do you have a sick roof? Well, DR Roofing Services can help. We will examine your roof, diagnose the problem, and prescribe a solution. Does your home need a facelift? DR Roofing Services offers a variety of general contracting services to get your home happy and healthy again. Honest, reliable, and trustworthy. DR Roofing Services. We make house calls.
Welcome back to the Art of Dispute. We're having a good old time. Great discussion going on here. Talking about gender roles and good thing, bad thing. Shouldn't we? I don't know.
For the kids,
Do it for the kids. Do it for the children. Chris, before we headed off the break, you had a question. Hit us with it again.
So I'm just gonna kind of paraphrase, but evolutionary. Are we fighting the system as we evolve into our more manly role or our more female role, or are we kind of making that the new thing? Is it good or bad in the aspect of are we becoming a better human race?
Yeah, I think the genders don't matter. I think that if you have both genders in a job, they teach each other things. I've learned in my role as a programmer that everyone is very smart. Some people are more creative, and that's typically women from what I've understood. And so my team of guys that can build anything, it might look ugly. So I'm gonna jazz it up and make it, clean it, put a little ribbon on it, make it look good, get it ready for production so people take it seriously. And I think that goes along in any job. I think that it doesn't matter age or gender. I think that everyone that has input, that's passionate about it, can add and make it better.
Okay.
Well,
What do you guys think?
yes, and
Are we working towards, if humanity is evolving, are we evolving to being better by expressing more manliness, more womanness, or are we evolving
a little
to,
paraphrasing.
are we evolving to be more asexual, just like, as she said, the gender doesn't matter, the role doesn't matter. Which direction are we headed, so to speak, in your thinking? Are we working against it or for it?
I honestly think it depends on how that person might have grew up also.
The roles they saw.
Yeah, like maybe how they grew up. Like with me, I've had to be the protector when it was just me and my kids in a household, and I had to make sure the doors was locked. I had to get my gun license and, make sure I could protect my kids myself. So it's just really how everybody is brought up to me. But either way, I don't think it I think both parents should be dominant. A woman should be able to take care of her own, and a man should be able to take care of the house if he's with the woman. But vice versa, you know, we should be able to take care of each other.
I think the world's just going to evolve, and there's always going to be that half that are stubborn and that half that want to actually evolve. And I mean, it's just going to continually fight.
evolve,
Half,
are
he's
you
being
looking-
optimistic.
Are you looking to evolve traditionally into more masculine roles, or are you looking to evolve more into asexual roles?
I feel like you're going to have those people that evolve into their asexual roles where they're like, gender doesn't matter.
And
I can protect
Are they the
myself.
stubborn ones, or
No, those are
Okay.
those are the ones that are like go-getters. They're ready to go
Alright.
out into the world
Okay.
and just don't mind what anybody else says. The stubborn ones are the ones that are like,
still cutting the grass?
I'm gonna. yeah, basically. They like living the way they've been living. They're gonna try and raise their kids that way, and if their kids like the way that they're raised, they're gonna
Continue.
grow up like that, and they'll move on, and they'll have kids, and it's just gonna continue like that until one kid is like, I don't like that. I'm gonna go the other direction.
Here I am. That's exactly.
The artsy one.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So let me ask you guys this. It's kind of an interesting phenomenon. So an interesting thing in sociology is that in times of peace, there's a downward trend in expression of masculinity. And how to phrase this? In a downward trend of expressing masculinity when there's no war going on, when there's no overt threat to the tribe, so to speak, there's a downward trend in expressing masculinity. Interestingly, the inverse reaction to that is an overt expression of masculinity. And I'll give you, like, this sounds all crazy right now, but hopefully you're kind of tracking along with my ramblings at this point. But I'll give you a funny way that this is expressed. In the last couple years, beards have become crazy popular, right?
You don't say.
And just in the last few years, right? And this is one thing that sociology looks at and says this is an overt expression of masculinity. So when there's this downward trend of masculinity, there's not a need.
War or peacetime right now. It's hard to tell.
Right, I know, right? I mean, like, technically America's at war, but I mean, like, ask anybody and, like, walk in the streets and they probably don't even know, right? But my point being is that when just as humanity is experiencing a time of peace, and there isn't a need for that protector thing that is so commonly felt in men to want to be the protector, this downward trend for masculinity, it starts expressing itself just on its own in other ways. And just the same, like if you give a boy and a girl a stick, the boy, generally speaking, makes a gun out of it. Or a sword.
It was always a sword for me.
Yeah, it's a sword too,
And
for sure.
if you give the same stick to a girl, generally speaking, she'll make a doll out of it.
I probably would have made
Right.
the
That's why I said
sword.
generally speaking, right? And so that long-winded rambling, is it bad for us to embrace these roles that just, even when we aren't thinking about it, get expressed, right? Is it bad for us to embrace those and let our kids see those?
Should I keep growing this beard?
Yeah. Am I being a bad parent when I, grow out my beard and, my little kids to see, Or is it bad for us to express our femininity, our masculinity, those atypical roles that come along with each of those? Is that bad?
I don't think it's bad. I think it's all in how you teach your kids and how you talk to your kids, how you explain things to your kids. Because I'm very close with my kids, so I explain things to them and try to get them to see, a mother's standpoint. So, I mean, again, you just teach them to to fend for themselves, and then when they get in a position and it's somebody to fend for them, then so be it. But always be able to fend for themselves.
Okay. All right.
I don't really believe that. I mean, having a beard is going to influence a child whether they should be more.
You
manly.
underestimate the power of the beard, sir.
I mean,
Kids
for
either love
me,
it or hate
if my son came up to me and was like, I don't have kids. My future son came up to me and was like, Dad, you need to shave your beard. It makes me feel less of a man. I would honestly say to him, like, well, you're not a man yet. You're still a child. And when you have your own beard, you
You'll
can
understand.
do with it what you want.
I don't think it's bad to express feminine or masculine. I do think it's bad to say you can't do this. Little boys shouldn't cry. Women shouldn't be strong. Like Arya
Yeah.
Stark is a perfect example, And I'm very masculine and very feminine sometimes. And I think that
We just went Game of Thrones.
rounds
Just
a
as
personality. And I think that's what makes people more interesting and more creative.
Okay.
I kind of have a question to this.
Shoot.
Societally, we look, we build our kids to put them into society, right? We want to make them society ready, and then at 18, hopefully. But if we're not teaching them what society is going to expect from them, because it's the stereotypical norm, are we putting them into the world prepared, or are we kind of throwing them out there to the wolves? And society should be prepared for a bunch of boys that
Bunch of
can
hippies.
change tire,
Yeah. I mean, I think that you can teach your children anything that you want to teach them. Learning skills is fantastic, right?
Absolutely.
You might teach a young man to go be a mechanic. They spend all this money in school, go into all this debt, and then years later he finds
doing
out that he
makeup,
wants
yeah.
to be a makeup
Right.
artist. And so is
Or
that
an artist.
He's doing a different kind of
Like,
change.
I used to be
Yeah.
a paramedic. Oh yeah, so.
Yeah. So, I mean, any skill that you can learn from anyone is awesome. That's why we have friends. We like to learn stuff from each other. But it's not at a detriment to teach them something. I don't think you should force them to be a doctor or a lawyer if that's not what they want to do.
My mom tried that.
Good luck for you,
But to the rest of the group, are we putting kids out that are ready and is society ready for them?
I think society should be able to mold the kid itself. I don't think the parent has any say in what the kid should do.
Especially after
My mom wanted me to stay in school. I graduated high school, I did a year of college, and I said, hey, this isn't for me, and I dropped out.
I knew that before I went. That's
Yeah.
why I got my little cert.
Yeah, I mean, I want a degree, and I want to further my, education, but at the same time, I'll do it when I'm ready. I'm not going to go out of my way and make myself feel uncomfortable to...
I'm there.
Even if you do prepare them for society, who is going to say that it's not going to change in 2 years?
True.
Not even
And that's-
10.
Or they're gonna move.
That
to
would
a
be
new
on their own.
Yeah.
That's for them to grow with society and learn from what they've been doing or whatever.
There's a topic. There's a topic in there somewhere, right? The parent's role in preparing the child for society.
Yeah, I like that.
There's
one. We'll
something in
have to get
there.
into that,
Yeah, we're gonna dig into that one. I'm sure. Like
What do you
closing
think?
thought.
I try to teach them, like he said, about how society is, but I also tell them to make sure you're happy. As long as you're happy, you do what you feel like you want to do as you get older, because once you turn 18, it's going to be your choice anyway. So I try to teach them both,
Outstanding. Well, we're already getting to the end of the show, which is just crazy to me that we're flying by. But
Rapid fire.
yeah,
We're done before.
rapid fire. Closing thoughts on this. For me, this is a really tough topic to look at all the different roles. It's a tough topic for me internally in that I absolutely embrace the idea of dad as a father, protector, head of the family, and I absolutely embrace the idea of sacrificial love. I do for my wife, or I try to do for my wife, not because she can't, but as an expression of love, right? I try to take care of her car and all these type of things, not because she can't, but because I want to do it as an expression of love, right? And so for me, on this topic, the idea of gender roles is not important, yet I think that it's okay to embrace it. Yeah, I think it's perfectly okay to embrace it and to show it, and embrace the idea that, you know, I believe generally speaking, men are wild at heart. We're wired to climb things and blow things up and be a nut, and it makes women, generally speaking, uncomfortable in that role, and they want us to chill out, right? And so I think it's perfectly okay for guys to be that nut, and I think it's perfectly okay for women to be nurturing and caregivers. It's not to say that there isn't like this, like you put ultimate female, womanly, whatever on one end, and ultimate nut, you know, climbing things, blowing things up. It's not that the two don't overlap, and that there aren't attributes and traits of both.
That's what I like the best.
You know, yeah, you know, I mean, I hands down, I cry way more than my wife does. She makes fun of me all. I watch This Is Us, this TV show. I think I've made it like through 2 episodes where I haven't cried like a baby.
Aww.
Right? So I'm way more of a in those kind of ways.
Leaving it at the house.
Yeah. This Is Us. You need to send us a check.
You're welcome for the advertising.
I don't see anything
Yeah,
wrong with
I
men
love that
crying.
show. Anyway, you know, so I mean, I get that, and I think it's totally cool. There's an old saying, I think it's a Scottish saying, never trust a man with a sword who can't dance, right? Huh. And that's about balance. It's like you have to appreciate the joy of life to appreciate how bad it is to take life, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm not giving you a sword until you understand the other concept, you know? Same kind of thing, you know? So anyway, you know, I embrace on one side very much gender roles, yet in the balance of saying I very much embrace the feminine aspect of my masculine personality. I don't think there's like I have to mow the yard to be manly. I can do all sorts of things to be manly, and I think it's great to express those things. That's my closing thought. Y'all chime in.
Ooh, so hot, I got the vapors.
They're bringing the heat. Better stick around and see what's gonna happen next.
How much does it cost you to watch TV? The average household pays between $100 and $150 every month. Finally fed up with the rising cost of cable and satellite? Cut the cord and start watching the channels you want at a fraction of the cost. With IXQ TV, you'll have access to thousands of live TV channels, including sports, movies, news, premium networks, kids channels, and even local channels for as low as $39 a month. Stream in HD on your TV, tablet, phone, or even computer with multiple devices streaming at the same time. IXQ TV requires no contracts or credit checks, no installation or cancellation fees, no bogus surcharges or hidden fees. $39 a month means $39 a month. Say goodbye to high cable bills forever. Visit mycablebillstinks.com today.
The Art of Dispute and all other artists recorded by Maddox Studios. By artists, for artists.
I can do all sorts of things to be manly, and I think it's great to express those things. That's my closing thought. Y'all chime in.
We're gonna cut from that.
Oh yeah. We'll be done, yeah. We'll be done, trust me.
If your personality,
If not all of it.
yeah, if your personality is masculine and that's how you're comfortable and that's how your kids see you growing up, awesome. But I think that it's important to never say like, oh, well, you're my daughter, so you shouldn't really learn how to fix this thing with me.
I agree with
As
that.
long as you're open with your children and you teach them anything that they want to learn from you and don't restrict them,
Let
then
them
that's
know,
just
hey, society ain't gonna think you know that.
Right?
Pull one up on them,
Hit 'em
yeah.
hard, boy.
I can fix my
whatever.
own tie.
Right? I try to do that as well. I try to teach my daughter things that I do is also like, manly and stuff. And I don't feel like it's nothing wrong with the man crying. So you just got to teach your kids. And
Send my wife a message.
Okay.
A handwritten letter.
Let her know. She picks on me, y'all.
She's a black belt.
Alright.
I mean, I agree with that too. Like, I'm not gonna, if I have a daughter, I'm not gonna be like, I'm not taking you hunting because that's for guys. I'm gonna be like, oh, cool, you want to go hunting?
Right.
I'll teach you how to hunt.
Yeah.
Same with the son.
Oh, yeah.
But like, if my son like wants to learn how to dress nice,
Grow a beard.
and grow a beard, he can do that too. I don't care. I'm not gonna judge.
Right. Amen.
Right on.
I'm closing. I would think that as long as we're enforcing good attributes in our children, I think that we're not doing anything wrong. If we're enforcing them to a female to want to be a mechanic, by all means, right? But if we're enforcing, hey, you're my son, you're not gonna be in ballet, like, yeah, maybe that's not like they want to do it. Let them learn that, right? So that's kind of my closing thought. I agree with that. Is just as long as we're enforcing positive attributes in our kids and not hindering them in a way that they want to learn something. Don't pull that information from them, because then they're gonna want to learn something else and go, oh well, I guess I'm not supposed to learn that. That's the easy way out.
So, at the end of the day, what I think is really important for our kids to see is dad loving mom and mom loving dad.
Some type of balanced relationship.
That we have conflict and that we can resolve it.
That's a big one.
Peacefully.
Amen.
Or even mom loving mom and dad loving dad.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Self-love,
of course.
sure.
Yeah. Self-love,
Self-love's a big
absolutely.
one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm all for it.
So, yeah.
Sorry. There's an inside joke from previous things.
Yes. Yeah. That'll be edited out.
I'm glad.
Yes, that's what I think is important. I don't think it's important that the son sees dad mowing the yard. I think it's important that the son sees dad respecting and loving mom. And I think it's important that the daughter sees mom respecting and loving dad. And ultimately, that's what's important. And that's a partnership.
Thank you.
And
She gave me the glance like, I see it too.
yeah.
Doesn't have to be, could be too
I
natural.
agree.
Sure, whatever.
He can say whatever. Let's do it.
That's another show.
End of the show.
No, it can't.
No, it can't.
That's wrong. It's horrible.
See y'all next week.
Hey, you lugged a couple musicians with you.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Who are these peeps? So we got Typecast.
Typecast.
What are you guys about to play for us? And where can we find it? Y'all take it away.
What's going on, guys? We are Typecast. This our new song, #1. You know what I mean? We at the Order Dispute. Y'all vibe with it. It's a good one, y'all. Talk to him, D.
I say we ain't gonna stop till we reach the top.
Till we reach the top, I can't stop till we reach the top. #1.
Baby, we ain't gonna stop till we reach the top.
Till we reach the top, I can't stop till we reach the top. #1. Baby, my ambitions as a rider. I never been a hitchhiker, cause I've always made a way. So many obstacles I overcame, but that's that fight in me. No, I never really fit in with society, but I guess I'ma go down the coldest that you ever saw. Real talk. Till we reach the top. I can't stop till we reach the top. Till we reach the top. I can't stop till we reach the top, baby. No, till we reach the top. I can't stop till we reach the top. Hey, till we reach the top. I can't stop till we only one way to go, and my soul won't let me go back down, no. Especially when we so close, I'm burning up like the ozone inside. Gotta ride, that's that hood that was up. They call it drive, they got my eyes on the top spot on the prize. It's time to give them something that they know they can't deny. Nah, come on.
We ain't gonna stop till we reach the top.
Till we reach the top, I can't stop till we reach the top. Number one. Till we reach the top, I can't stop till we reach the top. Number one. Yeah, man.
Another killer song, man. My
Thank you,
boys
thank you.
Typecast in the house again.
Yes,
One of
sir.
the rare crews we've had come in for several shows.
thank you, thank
Way
you,
to go.
thank you.
Awesome stuff. What was that song called again?
The song is Number One. It's out now everywhere on our new record called Uncanny, and the video's out, so y'all make sure y'all grab that guy.
Yeah, and make sure you hop over to theartdispute.com.
Yes.
Check out the YouTube channel where we've got the previous performance up on. Killer stuff. Great show. See you guys again next week. We're out.